Hello, traders. This is Andy speaking. Let me know when you can see my screen and you can hear my voice, and we will proceed. Hey, Peppy, how are you, buddy? All right. Looks like we're in business. All right, this is the support webinar, guys. So if you do have any questions, just use the YouTube chat. Hey, Trader77, what's going on? Yeah, just use the chat there, and we'll be happy to answer them. I say we because a lot of times I need help. Pepe's usually the one that steps up and provides assistance. All right, but as we wait for questions, let me get a drink of water real quick. That's it is triple witch. You know what? I forgot about that. I knew it was options, but yes, it is the end of the quarter as well. So can make for difficult trading. Taking a look real quick uh, at the markets. Let's just dive into the cues because we're trying to defend the 20 period moving average in both the cues and the spies. Uh, just looking at the spies real quick, it's amazing how these could be so much in unity. But that is the algo trading that we have today. So interesting. Yeah, I could. What better place for option sellers to to close this market right here? It means basically we've gone nowhere. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, since the beginning of the quarter, we've had a decent move. But for all those who may have entered options, in the last couple of months or 6 weeks, they were probably just going to have to eat them. All right, diving into my trades, I always like to talk about, my trades and uh, the ones I came in with today is Amazon. Now I've added Amazon pretty heavy here at the 20. I needed to actually have a stop in if it takes out the lows on half of my position, which I'm sure it'll go down and tickle me. Uh, Came in with Intel, and I'll talk more about that because I really do believe there's something going on here that may be better, a lot better than what you saw over here in these moves that we had, and I'll tell you the reason why I believe that. What else did I come in with today? Oh, I had a little Mara, just buying it off the 50 period moving average. Actually bought it on this day right here. You can see I've scalped out a little bit of it, and I keep buying it back when it pulls back. But that one's just kind of something you're buying at the 50. If it takes out that 3 day low, I'll be out. Talked about Intel. What else did I come in with today? No, a little bit of Tesla. A little bit of Tesla. And of course, Amazon. I've been in Amazon for a while and not real happy with the last 2 days of action. I actually got out of quite a bit on Wednesday, but then I bought back today, so we'll see. But I bought back near lows. I actually so my average is pretty good, but it needs to hold that 20. New positions today. IONQ was holding up really well. Relative strength in the market. You can see as the market was selling off, almost got me on this move right here, but IONQ is performing well. Oh yeah, Donkey Kong is one that I've had uh, for about 4 or 5 days. You can see I've scalped out a lot, but I still have a position in that. You know, just ARC has been so strong lately. I'm looking to play some of these ARC stocks. So that one, QBTS, Yeah, I got a little aggressive on that one. Gonna stop out of that if it breaks through that low. I think my stop's at 1066 on that one. Yeah, Tesla's definitely stuck right now, man. There's just no reason to get aggressive on that one. It's just right in the middle. Now, that being said, it could have an explosive move one way or another. You know, it could go either way. Looking at that chart, uh, I do like the way the 10 period is curling. Zoom in a little bit so you guys can see how the 10 period is kind of curling around and defending the price action. But you do have that 20 period that has been really stubborn. So I do believe if it can take out, let's just call it, you really got to let it take out this high. A lot of people would say this one as well, but I don't know. It would be well above the. I like to be early, but you are right. It is definitely stuck. Oh, UAVS I just added, right, probably down here on this reversal here. Small size, just kind of catching it off the 20 period moving average there. Okay, going back on this APLD I bought today. Now, this is one you can see I bought it a little bit early and then I added some. Uh, got a little too much, sold a little bit, but this is one I'm playing off this 20 period moving average now, probably a day early, but it's definitely, I think, the one you have to keep an eye on. Nice move, breakout move on volume. Okay, and it's pulled back now. It's hitting its 20 period moving average. And I just had an alert go off on that because it kind of tried to poke above that high, came right back in. But definitely one I think you got to keep an eye on. Problem I have sometimes is I get too aggressive on these pullbacks, and I really should just be playing tiny size and waiting for the bar reversal. Retro Casualty, I love that name. I have two alerts in my price alerts all window, but I don't have a scan window open. How do I find the source for these alerts suggesting things that don't exist? AI suggesting things. I'm not sure what you moved on to AI there. I'm not sure. Retro, I'm not sure exactly. So the price alerts window is totally separate from alerts that you're going to find in a scan. Price alerts just going to be alerts that you set. Retro, any alerts that come through the software, whether it's the AI or a alert window, it's not going to pull up in your price alerts window. Those are just ones that you set manually. You didn't set any. Okay, well, if you have anything that's pulling up in here, you had to maybe you set it automatically. These are only alerts that you set by, going to the chart, right clicking, and selecting create price alert. I think you can also do it from the symbol. Yeah. Maybe let's look on. No, I think you have to. There may be another place you can do it. I'm not sure there, retro, but I know it's done by the trader, it's not done by any scan that would fire off would not come in your price alerts. Yes, Wasam. Yeah, the price. There's that APLE getting a little pop there. Uh, I mean, sorry, relative volume. And let me explain to you why we don't have relative volume in pre-market. Okay, let me give you a great example. Let's say a stock is just doing zero volume in pre-market. Okay, so for 4 hours and maybe longer than that, since it opens up at 4 Eastern time, so basically 5.5 hours. You're basically got all this data for relative volume where it's not doing anything. Okay, so what happens is the market opens up. Let's say a stock gets active in the live market action, and it comes across one of your scans and you have a relative volume column up there, and you're like saying you're seeing this huge volume come in, but the relative volume is only showing this is the case if you did have relative in pre-market. Let's say it's showing point zero, 5 or something like that, and you're going, wow, the relative volume is really, there's no relative volume here. Well, what's happened is all that data that you had for all that pre-market time, it has skewed the live market data. Okay, so it can really mess up probably 95% of the stocks. Let's face it, there's not a lot of action. It's usually a handful of stocks, that are doing big volume in pre-market. So it really messes it up. Now, what you can do is you can use volume today, so you can see the number of shares coming through as a column. This is what I like to do. Use volume today. Use let's see if I have one. Pre-market high. Let's see what I have on this one. I think I'm just using, yeah, I'm using volume today percentage. I'm using 1 minute volume, and I'm using 5 minute volume. So that's going to give you a real idea of what kind of volume is coming in. So we would rather you use something like this, and you can even use total volume if you want to see the shares. But I like using the 1 minute and the 5 minute because this does work in pre-market, whereas the relative market, I'm sorry, yeah, the relative volume does not. I hope that makes sense to you. But try using the 1 minute and 5 minute, and volume percentage today. That's gonna compare the volume today based upon the entire volume per day that it does. So a lot of times you'll be using that, and you'll see, wow, it's already done 100% of its total volume in pre-market, or even if it's doing 50%, that's it's doing a lot of market. I mean, a lot of volume in pre-market if it's doing half of its total volume average for the day. Well, relative volume, I'm not sure it works in post. You may still be getting the volume from the live market action. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. I'll have to check on that. Dionysus, I'm not sure. Volume today percentage calculates what percentage of volume it's doing versus the average daily volume. Okay, that's the key word, the average daily volume for one day. So let's say a stock normally does 10 million shares a day. Okay, so in pre-market, right, it's got active and all of a sudden it's done 5 million shares. Okay, so what that would be 50% of its normal daily volume. Does that make sense? So if you see something come across and it reads 50, you will know it's already done half of its average daily volume. Does that make sense? All right. Let's go down to, we got some questions coming in here. Let's go down to where I'm at. Courtney. Well, in our last marketing meeting, which was Tuesday, we had a good report that things are going well. Okay, we're hoping to get a version for the traders here in a couple of weeks for us to start testing. So it's going to be a dev version, a developmental version, so we can bang on it and start trying to find bugs and things like that. And all I can say is we are hopeful to have it maybe to use in a test drive sometimes in July, probably late July. That's what we're shooting for. Okay. But you have to understand, there's it's a big endeavor and a lot that needs to happen and go on because it's not just putting out a software. You got APIs to deal with. You got to make sure there's no glitches in the executions and things like that. So we are definitely shooting, for probably late July, to have it maybe in a test drive. Now, this would still be in a beta form. Okay. So even if you get it and get to use it, you're only going to be able to paper trade with it because there's going to be some bugs. Even when beta comes out, there's going to be some that slip through the cracks. So, no, that one's gone. Let me just make sure. Hold on just a minute, guys. I got to make sure these stops work and are working for me over here. Okay, yeah, that one is gone. Uh, so there you have it. Okay, and we can't make any promises. Okay, there's just too much at stake here. So, but we are doing our best. And no, I have not tested it. Hopefully, I'll be able to test it in 2 weeks. True Seeker, can you explain the difference between VWAP and anchored VWAP? Okay, the VWAP is just basically a value weighted average price. Okay, so uh, no, volume weighted. I'm sorry, volume weighted average price. I'm not going to go into the to exactly how that's calculated and everything like that. You can look that up how it's calculated, but the difference is anchored VWAP instead of like we have VWAP one, VWAP two, VWAP three. VWAP one is intraday. It's going to give you the volume weighted average price just on the intraday. Okay. And then as you go to two, that's 2 days of VWAP, three, four, and so forth. Okay. Now, when you go to an anchored VWAP, you're not using any time frame that's designated just by uh, well, let me say it this way. You kind of set the time frame by where you set the anchor. So let's say this QBTS, and you're seeing this QBTS here, and you're like, wow, I want to know what the anchored VWAP is from this gap up right here. All right. So it's not going to calculate the VWAP on the intraday. It's not going to calculate the VWAP on, day two, three, four. It's going to calculate it wherever you set the anchor. So if I come in here and I set the anchored VWAP to this day right here where it gapped up, it's going to draw me the anchored VWAP from that day. Okay, you can see it's right here. This is kind of where it's having problems getting above that anchored VWAP. So True Seeker, it's going to be wherever you set it versus a regular VWAP, which is usually an intraday. Usually, when people talk about VWAP, they're mostly talking about intraday. Uh, all right. Okay, you still kind of moving on from that relative volume, but thank you, Don. Says I appreciate your input. Uh, yeah, I agree. I agree with Dionysus there. It's a change in the 5 minute, like I showed you. You see these. Let me just go ahead and show you the stocks for today here on this. Let's do a history. This is my pre-market high, and you can see here, 1 minute volume's good, 5 minute volume's even better. BRRR was, I don't have a intraday up, but let me go ahead and put it up. Okay, that one was like probably all in. This only does 92,000 shares a day, so that's probably a bad example. That one had a nice little run in pre-market, and you can see there was volume behind it, volume behind it. See if I can find one that's doing an incredible amount of volume percentage today. Not really. I guess that one was probably the biggest one. So what happens is, and really didn't do anything. This all happened in the latter part of pre-market, and all of a sudden, bam, it's done 13% of its normal total daily volume. So on average, so occasionally you'll get some really ones that are popping through here, and then these numbers are really high. Then you know it's something. But I honestly, yeah, I focus on the 5 minute and the 1 minute volume. All right, we're going to move on because I got other questions from the relative volume. Are there pre-configured scanners? Pre-configured scanners that can be used in pre-market. Not really scanners. I mean, honestly, I have found it's really simple. Just basically using a pre-market high, and let me just show you my configuration here. Uh, I'm just looking for something that changed from close up 2%, and then the volume in the 1 minute has to be greater than 500%, which basically 5 times normal volume. Now you could bring that down if you want to see everything. You could put it on 200. You can put it on 300, but that kind of keeps. I mean, if you don't use some sort of volume filter, you're going to get just all sorts of crap coming through. So you got to use some sort of volume filter. Uh, yeah, pre-market's a little bit of different animal because it's hard to build different, you know, use different filters to look for stocks that are like setting up like I do on my daily charts for my homework. It's just a different animal. It's basically probably best is to use, a high low ticker. Or, we do offer in our pre-market, let's see, doc channel bar. Okay, if you do come into our pre-market, which where is it? There it is. We just, sometimes it's best just to watch them in a tree map, or even better still is maybe watch them in a, if you like, you can just use a gap percentage, and you can just watch them in a top list. That's maybe the best way, and then you can kind of just go through and you can set alerts. You see them moving, maybe you just go in and set alerts. So that's what I've always used. I very seldom use that like pre-market high. I don't I'm too busy, but I will look at gappers and set alerts and things like that. Yeah, Pepe's right. Relative volume only works uh, during market hours. Sorry, I was reading something else. All right, Three Sharp says, Andy, I really appreciate your morning email where you highlight two opportunities. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I think probably there's been a couple lately. Donkey Kong was a good one. Going back yesterday was a good one. Trying to focus on the ARC stocks today. APLD, but it hasn't triggered yet and may not. Was basically a move above this high right here, but obviously, in this market, I'd probably have them either not trigger at all. It's kind of a mess, but that's why I said it's one to watch. IONQ was on the list. I'm not sure if that made the email list. Of course, now it's giving it back up. UAVS is getting a little push there. You was on the list today, but this one it needs to get above that. If it gets above this area right here, the 420, 430 level, I think this could be off. This is a ARC stock. That yeah, it's some of these things are really hard to trade. Hey, y'all bear with me just one sec. I'll be back in 1 minute. All right, thank you for waiting. Yeah, Iris, here's what happens. If you'll send an email in, we'll put you back on the list. Our database, what it does is if you don't open the email for a certain amount of time, let's say you go a couple of weeks without opening it, it takes you off the list. So, not sure why it works that way, but that's what I've been told. So, send an email and say you want back on the list, and when we put you back on the list, just make sure you open it periodically. Don't go a long stretch. I would say don't go over a week without opening it because we only want to send it to people. Yeah, just send an email. We'll put you back on. Make sure I didn't miss anything, guys. Hold on, they're streaming through here pretty good. Yes, three sharps. I am mostly a swing trader. I I was a day trader for probably 15 years, just hardcore. Made a living off of it for 15 years, but it got old. It got stressful, and it's like I'm now. You know what? I'm gonna go to swing trading. Uh, the Market Explorer. I'm not sure if we have anything. You'll just have to look through there, Vito. Uh, you can right click and go to strategies, and these are more technical patterns. So I'm not. I don't think you're going to see anything off of relative volume. Yeah, you're not gonna find anything. I don't think. These mostly pattern stuff. Deploy it does not run on a Mac. Okay, it works very well with Parallels or AWS, but we don't have a Mac version. Okay, so uh, and really uh, our our web version is kind of being phased out. So uh, as soon as we get through the money machine, I think we're going to start working back on our kind of a new web version, but it's gonna take some time. We're really focusing on the money machine right now. Well, I can give you a quick background. We have three, four traders here that do this. One is the CEO. He does it on Wednesday. I started trading with him back in 1996 uh, on a floor. I was been a day trader for I was a day trader for 15 years. Over the last 18 years, I've been a swing trader. I've used to have a me and Steve Gomez, which is another trader here. We used to have a business where very similar to Barry's, where people could come on, watch my desktop, see my positions live, taking live positions. I also been a mentor over in China. I was contracted and went over there every month for a week out of each month to help train about 450 traders over there, active traders. Uh, so yeah, that's my background. Then since I decided to join Trade Ideas about 8 years ago to continue kind of helping and mentoring traders. So there's a brief recap of my background. Retro, you can, yeah, you can use Parallels if you're on a Mac and it works well. All you gotta do is make sure basically it's a window-based platform that you can run on Mac. So you're basically just kind of using a almost like a PC, and then just make sure you load it Parallels and then download the software inside Parallels. Don't download it and you know into your file on your Mac and then open it up. You want to download it inside of Parallels. So, but it works great in Parallels. They have great support, man. If you have any problem at all, they'll get online with you and work through it and get you going. But I've done lots of one-on-ones with people that were using Parallels, and from what I've seen, yeah, it works great. And have used it on AWS, and it works great there. Obviously, I think AWS is more expensive though; it's more of a monthly fee. All right, you guys are firing away. Let me. Yeah, Dionysus is right. We have a lot of people coming in looking for a free trial, and honestly, even if we did give you a week, you probably wouldn't learn enough in that week. Now we do have a test drive coming up when we launch the money machine. That'll probably be 10 days where you could have the software, which is a lot better. But we do have a monthly plan with no contract, and we'll give you a coupon code so you can basically come in for the price of maybe $90 or something like that, and check out the whole software for a whole month. That's where you're really gonna learn. And honestly, if you're serious about trading and a $90 investment is nothing, you to check out something for a month that could make a huge difference, okay, in your profits P&L. Thank you, Three Sharp. I appreciate that. I don't anymore, man. It's an old photo, man. Back in the day, maybe. All right, I want to talk to you guys something why I've been kind of jumping in Intel a lot. Now, I do this a lot when I'm trying to kind of pick a bottom. If I'm not sure it's going to be a bottom, but so what I'll do is I'll keep getting a position and scalping out. I did it kind of with Donkey Kong, and the next thing you know, you have a position and you're working on a swing trade, but you've already banked some good profits. The same thing is kind of with what I'm doing with Intel. And let me tell you why I like Intel now more than I did previously. It's because this daily pattern. Okay, if you look back over here, and let me just go ahead and make it big. Now I don't know if it's going to work, but a lot of people got excited, about this huge move right here. Okay, but really it wasn't. Other than a kind of a triple bottom down here, it wasn't really anything, setting up as far as a decent pattern. Okay, that was just a crazy move off the bottom that did not last. Okay, it came back, broke down, almost traced the whole move. Well, what happened? You got it again here. I mean, no setup, nothing, nothing to kind of build a base off of. You're just basically gapping up, go, did not hold. Actually went and took out this low over here. But since that time, okay, now it's being a lot more constructive. Okay, now it's more of a pattern. And if I can get these things to stay in here, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Okay, you kind of got a nice little wedge kind of building here in this thing. This is, I can never get these things to work. Ah, stay. There we go. And I could even take it way up to here if I wanted to. So now you kind of got a nice little wedge and it disappears. All right. Well, so now what you have is kind of a constructive pattern being here where you're making a low, you made a high here, let's call it a 1 month high, you backed up, okay, you're making a lower low, okay, and you're just kind of building this nice little wedge pattern here, and you keep making a lower low. So now this is much more constructive than what you saw over here, just a stock just taking off out of nowhere. Okay, and this is why it really didn't have any staying power, man. It just kind of fell back in. But now you have something that's building. Okay, you have buyers stepping in here, and once again, this could fail. Okay, but I feel a lot better about Intel over here than I did, back over in these moves because it's just a mess of a chart. There wasn't anything that was constructive about it. It's just stock that was near lows taking off, and it didn't last. Well, now I don't. I just think you have something that's building a much better base. Okay, long, 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 long base going back. Gosh, what is it? Yeah, August 24. So basically, uh, almost a year. So that's a long base. So I do like what I'm seeing here as far as a pattern that's developing in this intel. So maybe it's AI. I don't know what's could go. I mean, it really hasn't done anything. You needed to kind of break out of this wedge. I think if it takes out this high going back over here, it could be, it could definitely be putting in a bottom. So I just want to throw that out because I know a lot of times you guys look at my blotter and be thinking, gosh, why is he trading that one? Why is he doing? And I don't have a problem with trading, picking a bad bottom if there is a nice little constructive pattern. And even when I'm doing so, I'm quick to take profits on the way because I know it's going to take time to build. So that's kind of, when I do pick bottoms, that's kind of my strategy. I'm going to keep a core position, but I'm going to, be scalping out along the way when it fails. And don't buy highs. And don't chase highs. When they're building these bottoms, they'll come back to you. All right. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Well, if you just go to our, let me see here. Let me drop one for you there. If you just go here, you will find a coupon, summer sale. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. You won't be able to, the only way you'll be able to do the channels if you, and I'm not I'm sorry, Retro, if I'm not good at this, but let's see. You just right click, and all you got to do is just save it. Just go to dark theme, okay? And then what you want to do is once you build your layout and you have everything dark theme, there's not gonna be one for the channels. We do have a color code where you can kind of do a workaround, but you'll need to go to our uh, I mean, you basically gotta like color all your columns black. I wouldn't go there if you wanted if you want everything to be dark theme. Uh, but you can do it if you go into properties and you go into select colors. And what you're going to have to do is do these color schemes and basically make them all like black. Uh, so you're going to have to take some time. I really don't have the time in this webinar to show you, but uh, because it's a little bit quirky, but you can do it if you want to. If you want all your scans to be a dark theme as well. But once you have like your charts all in black, you just want to go in and save your layout. Okay. And you save layout, make sure you save it under your default layout and save. And that's going to be what opens up every time you come into trade ideas. Now, the channels, you cannot alter and save the channels inside of our dock channel bar. So, but what you can do is you can save that to your cloud. You can save that channel to your cloud, and you can go in and do, kind of what I kind of like that. Let me play a little play around, see how it feels with dark theme here. Uh, so anytime you go into a channel, like in the dock channel bar, or anytime you're in a docked window at all, okay, and you right click on uh, so you can go in here and do what I just showed you and make it a dark theme, but you cannot save. It's not going to save inside the channel bar. But what you can do is just right click and you can save or share. Anytime you right click on any window in a dock channel bar, it's going to save the entire dock. Okay. It's not just going to save that window. So you can take this uh, explosive winners layout and you can save this to the cloud. Okay, just save and just save. It's going to save this whole docked window in the cloud for you, and then you can make uh, modifications, adjustments to it as you wish, and just make sure you resave it again. Oh man, you're gonna have to refresh my memory what a details window. What you're referring to is a details window. I'm just not ringing a bell. I'm just probably. Oh, okay, right. I don't know if you can make this one a dark theme. Yeah, single stock window. Yeah, I know. I just forgot the details was up there. If you would have said news profile or anything like that, but details is something that's always. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to make this into a dark theme. Okay, thank you, Pappy. You cannot. Well, the Tesla went back green there, Trader 77, and taking a quick look at the cues, it's trying to on the 15-minute chart got back above its 10 period moving average, basically on a 1 hour high here. But man, I sure not seeing a whole lot of stuff with my stocks. It's I think triple witching. We got all the geopolitical news out there. I imagine not a lot of people want to go home too long. I'm not very long right now at all, even though I've got quite a few positions. The size is not used. Only big size I have is probably Amazon. There's no global dark thing. Thank you, Peppy. Let's see, qubits. This thing's just nasty. A lot of nasty action. All right. Let's take a look around. Okay, ARC is continuing to, kind of buck the trend. I mean, that's one stocks is kind of what I've been focusing on. Let me pull over. I need to get a fresh list on, and Donkey Kong is leading my. I did sell about 2/3 of it this morning. Now I will look to get back in this if it has or add back in. It's going back to my core position, and let's see what happens. Not liking this action so far. Take a look at the big boys real quick. Google's having a tough day. Uh, Amazon's kind of having a tough day holding on to that 10 period moving average. Sorry, the 20 period moving average is 209.65. Hmm. And the low is 209.59. All right, we got about 10 more minutes. Nah, I'm just not a dark theme kind of guy. Wow, changed my color of my candles to blue. Interesting. Yeah, I bought some of that bull yesterday, but not doing anything today. But got a decent price, so I'm just kind of let that one breathe. See if it wants to break out of that wedge at any time. Not wedge, but base. AMD has been a strong one lately, that's for sure. Although could not hold its initial move today, but we'll see. But that one's definitely looking pretty good there. Let's see, Nvidia, take a look. Looking very much like the Qs. What stock are you talking about, Retro? To select white color scheme. Where do I select that? I just thought there was a dark theme and then thank you. Wonder why it jumped on me. Thank you very much, Peppy. I tell you, you can't get anything past Peppy. Thank you much. Thank you much. Shaq was on the list today. Kind of broke out of a little area there. What stock are you referring to, Retro? Gorilla Technology. Do you have a symbol? Or you just is that just a term? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that. I thought you were growling like you were angry with something. Hey, Mike C, what's up, buddy? I honestly thought he was just going grr. Is this an AI call? Is that what you're saying? Let's go to the AI strategy trades window. Okay. Yeah, it probably, uh, it probably was playing off that niche kind of like a opening range breakout almost. That would be a 30-minute range breakout. So I'm not sure what the strategy it was that it used, but that's kind of what it was looking at. Now, looking at this one, I mean, it really hasn't run into any. I mean, to me, it looks like this thing could go back to 28.90 area, but we'll see. See, that's some nice. This is where I go back to a lot of people. A lot of times, the AI, it's kind of unfair, how it's calculated because this is one where it's still in the trade, whereas a trader could grab this, 980, 10, say 10, and it went all the way to, you got over two and almost 3 points in this thing. Okay. And if you're grabbing something like that, which basically a 30% move and you don't take profits, the AI can't sit here and just work every exit for you. This is why we don't calculate its P&L anymore, because there's so much opportunity where a trader can take it, uh, versus AI just going to sit here and wait for the exit. What say it flats the thing, but in reality, it gave a lot of opportunity for basically, you know, 40, probably 45 minutes for you to bang out some really nice profits in that. It's off Mighty Mouse. Yeah, sure is. Grr is off Mighty Mouse. Yeah, I was referring to that SRM was breakout long. Here's one that you could do a re-entry. Good. And this goes back to highs. It could get interesting because once again, it's in no man's land. Okay. And if it gets above this 3670, which it is, I mean, this thing, could easily go back to 40. I'm not saying to trade it because it may not go to highs. It may run back down, but I'm just saying if it does get through on some volume, could be one. But okay, this 80 Mouse. You mean Mighty Mouse, right? The Blue Holly channel. Are you talking about the okay, the channel, the long? Are you talking about this TI long channel? Well, I'm seeing Mighty Mouse. I'm not. I tell you what, if you see that retro, I'm not sure what the blue icon. I'm not. And I got to run anyway. But if you if you take a screenshot and send it to us, take a screenshot of that uh, 80 mouse and send it to us. We'll see if we can fix that for you. EVLV trying to break out there. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. I got to run, but got a meeting coming up here with TradeStation. But you guys have a great weekend. Keep it tight. Uh, Probably, I'm not expecting much, but who knows? It is triple witching, man. We can get some crazy action. But yeah, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week. All right, bye bye. You're welcome, Net Trade.